Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing another book to movie adaptation review and comparison. I haven't done one of these in a while. We're going to talk about the Scorch Trials. The Scorch Trials was my favorite in the series, so I was really excited to see this movie. What did I just watch? What was that? The movie was so different from the book. So different. It diverged to a point where I didn't even know what was happening, and I had read the book. It is absolutely 100% not the book. Basically, the only thing that they kept the same was the characters' names and the setting. That's pretty much the extent of the similarities. I mean, I thought they took a lot of liberties with Insurgent. Oh my gosh, they took so many more with this movie, which was such a shame because I loved the book so much, and they changed the whole freaking thing. So we're sitting in the theater. It was maybe within the first 5 minutes of the movie, and my boyfriend, like, I'm really confused. What is going on? And I'm like, I know what's going on. I'm not confused. And then like half an hour later, I was like, what the hell is happening? What is going on? As you can tell, I haven't quite gotten over this. Okay, so the movie starts off with them arriving at this compound, and they arrive via helicopter, which is fine. In the book, they get there via buses. They're trying to get them into the compound, and people are shooting, things are dying, jumping off of buildings. It's the crank ring. And then they get into this compound, and the is this compound? People, like lots of people working there, like personnel. There was like a hangar with equipment. In the book, there was like one room, then there were bedrooms. It was just the kids from the maze. In the book, it was like 20 kids that escaped the maze. A lot more than what's in the movie. There wasn't like this village living in this compound in the middle of the Scorch. It was like an actual compound with people working at it. And what is this? Where are they? On top of that, they get into the compound. It's revealed immediately that there were other mazes. They don't find out that there's another maze until much further into the second book. And in the movie, there's not just one other maze. There's like 40 mazes. I mean, they're like just all over the place. Do you remember how expansive that maze was? Like, where are they building 40 of these? And then they have like this recruiting session with Peter Baelish. They're trying to get picked to go to this, I don't know, like safe haven. Right away, I'm like, well, that's fishy. We're not really going to a safe haven. And that does not at all happen in the book. In the compound for like days. And there's Ratman. And that's like the only contact they have. They reveal in the movie his name. And they don't find out his name until the third book. So I'm like, who is this Jansen person? Who is this? Oh, Ratman. Peter Baelish is Ratman. Ratman is taking all of these kids on this safe haven. Thomas wants to know what's going on because he can't find Teresa. He has no idea where Teresa is, and he's like freaking out. I feel like in the movie, the relationship between Thomas and Teresa seems really forced, and it's kind of awkward and not very believable because they took out the telepathy. The basis of the relationship is they can speak each other's minds, and they took it out of the movie, but you need to then make the characters connect in some other way. And Teresa is present through this entire movie. She goes with them on this quest. In the book, she is not a main factor. She makes random appearances every now and then. Thomas is freaking out because he can't communicate with her telepathically. It's broken. He can't figure out why it's broken. But she goes with them on this whole extravaganza, and that kind of ticked me off. Another thing that they took out from the book was they have the tattoos on their neck. In the book, they have like titles. Leader, betrayer. It's not at all mentioned in the movie. This boy named Eris, who was in the book, he is the boy from the other maze. The other maze was the exact opposite of Thomas's maze. Thomas and Eris never go on this like secret air duct mission to this creepy scientific lab, like weird fish scaly tanks. What were those weird fish in the tank things? What were those? My only guess is that they were grievers. They look like creepy deep sea fish. That is not in the book. The compound has 3 rooms. Where was the compound with the creepy things hanging from the ceiling? The dead bodies hanging from the ceiling. I was waiting the whole time they were in that compound for that to come, and it never comes. In the trailer, there are people hanging from the ceiling. Where are they? Well, they come in later. Where were the cranks trying to break in through the windows? I don't know that was at all in the movie. Eris and Thomas are in this like secret scientific laboratory. All these people are hooked up to these machines, and they're like draining fluid from them. I'm so confused. What is happening? In the book, the Scorch Trials is the second part of this experiment. They're not like finding things out. They're still being tested. They're still under Wicked's command in the book. They're still being manipulated, and that is completely different from how the movie was. In the movie also, Ava Page is a much more prominent figure. They almost paint her as a villain. She reminds me so much of Janine from the Divergent series, but in the book she literally makes an appearance at the end of each book. She writes a journal entry about the data from the maze. And that's really all that she has to say. Okay, so Peter Baelish is talking to her through the screen and she's like, we'll harvest them all, let's kill them all. I need this cure. Okay. Naturally, Peter Baelish goes after the new recruits, our 6 main characters. Thomas is rushing back through the air vents. As he's going through the air vents the first time, I'm thinking, okay, he's dropping down from the air vent with Eris. Nobody hears that. And then they swing the air vent cover back up into the ceiling. Nobody hears that again. How in hell are you going to get that air vent duct back open and climb back up through it when you're on the ground and that's on the ceiling? Oh, maybe they'll just take another way back to the room. Nope, they literally go back in the air vent. How the hell did you get back in that air vent? Peter Baelish is taking off after these kids, and the kids are actively trying to escape the compound. No, they are sent out into the Scorch on purpose by Wicked. They send them through this long, creepy, dark tunnel. It's really hot and it's dark and it reminds me of an underground, Egyptian tunnel or something. Wicked infects them all with the flare virus. In the movie, they really run away from the compound by choice. Okay, that was really different. Winston still has his face in the book. They are sent out through this tunnel because Wicked tells them at the end of the Scorch will be a safe haven and a cure because you all have been infected with the flare. That's their whole motivation to going out into the Scorch. In the movie, they're just runaways. Wicked is actively going after them the whole time in the movie. They're scoping them out, trying to find them. This is not the same. This is making me so angry. In the movie, they get out into the Scorch and they go into this dilapidated mall. Immediately my brain was like, no, 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 bad idea. It's a dark place. And what likes to live in dark places? Cranks. Cranks love to live in dark places. It's their favorite thing to do. How they get out into the Scorch in the book. They're going through this long tunnel. These weird globules of lac goo are falling from the ceiling. They form these balls and they come and they chop off some of the gliders' heads. And one of them moltens around Winston's face. Do you remember that part? That wasn't in the movie. Back to the movie. They're in this dark mall, scoping it out. I'm thinking they're gonna run into Brenda and Jorge. Nope. We're running into this huge big old crank army. They were just as creepy and terrifying as I expected them to be. I always pictured them to be zombie-esque. I was freaking out during that whole scene. Minho and Thomas are running full speed ahead. Running, we gotta get out of here, we gotta get out of here. And the other 4 are just standing there what? Run, you idiots! You can see the horde of people behind them, and they're all just standing there having a good old chat. Seriously, why are some characters in movies just so stupid? They run away. Winston gets scratched across the stomach. Okay, he's infected, he's a crank. In the book, he dies in the storm. He gets struck by lightning or something. In the book, they finally emerge from this long, dark tunnel into the Scorch. It's 115 degrees. A lot of the time they're complaining about being dehydrated and hot and sweating their cojones off. And in the movie, they're wearing coats and jackets and boots and lots of layers. Aren't they dying of heat? Why aren't they having heat stroke right now? They're in a desert. The desert has these really creepy storms that are actually controlled by Wicked. They're running for cover and then they go into this building and that's when they run into Jorge and Brenda. I'm pretty sure that's not at all what happens in the movie. After they get attacked by the cranks, try to get to the mountains because there's these people in the mountains apparently that can save them. They're walking through the desert and they're almost to the mountains, on the edge of this town. And they get to this compound. A pirate oasis on dry land. What is with these movies and making people look like pirates? And they run into, finally, Brenda. Damn, it only took an hour to finally meet Brenda. She takes him up to meet Jorge. I always pictured Jorge as this rugged, Mexican, sultry guy. In his 50s, he has gray hair. That is not at all what he's supposed to look like. Why is he so old? And that whole compound was just not at all in the book. And I was so annoyed at this point that I just didn't even care what was happening in the movie anymore because I was just Teresa is still with them. And in the book, Wicked still has their hands on her. She betrays them in the book really early on, and in the movie, it's not until the very, very end. In the book, Brenda and Thomas get separated from the other gliders somehow. And they do go walking through this tunnel system. In the movie, the minute she goes down, she's like, well, they're gonna be full term down here. And my boyfriend goes, what does that mean? What's full term? In the book, the cranks do want to feed on you, but there are different levels of crankness. And there is a crank in the underground tunnels who's pretty far gone, but he's still really lucid. And he has a whole conversation with Thomas. He's the leader of the underground crank union because they were like in tribes or whatever down there. But that's not what happened in the movie. They run into these cranks who are basically plastered into the walls. It reminded me very much of Pirates of the Caribbean 2. Crew members becoming part of the ship. These cranks are becoming part of this tunnel. I don't understand why they were becoming like trees. In the movie, the cranks are just these mindless, almost zombie-like. They felt more human in the book. And in the book, Jorge does get revealed to be a crank. In the movie, he's not a crank at all. There was something like important about Brenda, and I don't feel like they really gave us that in the movie. And she's infected, and they have to draw Thomas's blood and separate these components to give her this weird cure. I don't remember any of this happening. What is going on? Let's talk about the end, because the end is drastically different. Where are the pods? Where are the pods? There are no pods. Are we not going to get the pods? Thomas, his peeps, and Jorge and Brenda make it to the right arm. Does not make an appearance in the books until the third one. They threw in the right arm, and this Vince guy, I don't remember him at all. And that Mary character, totally made up. Right arm has a whole bunch of the other Glader, Sonia and Harriet. I don't remember there being like a cavern. Definitely didn't meet them through the right arm. At the end of the Scorch trials, they have to reach this promised land. They're told if you get to this promised land, you will get the cure for the flare, because remember they infected them with the virus. And so they get to this valley clearing type area, and there are all these like pods that come up out of the ground, and then these like cranks crawl out of the pods, and they have to defeat the cranks, and they're fighting, and that's like the big battle scene in the book. The Gladers have to climb into the pods, and the pods go down to the ground, and that's how they like complete the trial. There was no pods in the movie. Instead, there's this huge big battle scene between the right arm and Wicked. This definitely did not happen in the book. Then Thomas makes this big declaration he's gonna go save Minho from Wicked, because Minho gets abducted during this raid. Pretty sure that does not happen in the book. They go into these pods and they went underground. And that's the end of the book. So I'm really curious to see where they're gonna take this in the Death Cure. I don't understand how they're gonna get back on track because it's just diverged so much in this one. The Scorch Trials is nothing like the movie. They're not remotely similar. They're still in the trials in this book too. In the movie, they were on the run from Wicked. Wicked was chasing them on the whole entire time. They're having these big battle scenes with Wicked, and that just never happens because Wicked purposely put them in the frickin' Scorch. There were a lot of issues in the book between Thomas and Eris because nobody really trusted Eris because he's from the other maze. He's kind of like a wild card in the book, but in the movie, he's very much on the Glader side. He's very much like part of their team, whereas in the book, he's like a two-timing little bastard. He's a little sneak. And there's not as much conflict in the group as there was in the book. I feel like there were a lot of issues between the Gladers in the book because Thomas is being shifty. No one really trusts Teresa in the book. None of that was really portrayed in the movie because Teresa's with them the whole freaking time in the movie. I'm having a really hard time rating this movie. I don't think it was actually like a bad movie. My boyfriend and my dad both really enjoyed it and they hadn't read the book. If you haven't read the book or you're not really attached to the story, I think you will actually really enjoy it. My mom and I spent about half an hour after the movie ended discussing everything that was different and how pissed off we were about everything that was different. So for me, it was a letdown because it was my favorite in the series and I was hoping for a more truthful adaptation. Tell me what you guys thought of this movie in the comments down below. I would love to talk to you about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!